Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Primary Arms. Hello, all. Just in case you forgot who I am, I'm Mike, the Joker that sometimes pretends to be head cat wrangler around here.
Slacker, the head slacker in charge.
You damn right. Get to work. I'm going back and taking my nap. Dang it. So
I don't know. I think we did a pretty good job of running the show between Paul and I. Particularly Paul, he did good work, except for sending out the wrong link in the right places.
Oh yeah, well, we got that fixed, so
no problem.
And I've done that before, so not a big deal. But no, I didn't get any complaints. Lots of compliments, actually. So great job, everyone.
Yeah, we did all right. We did okay.
Oh yeah.
I think you guys did a fine job.
Nick helped a lot too. You got in there
that first week, yep, for sure.
You know, got in there and pushed it all. And Jim,
yes, sir.
I got to say, yeah, you did all okay. Other than I wasn't fast enough on your mute button.
Mike, you're gonna have to take that other guy's name out if you haven't already.
What's that?
You're going to have to take that other guy's name out. When we were talking about shooting inert material in a hunting load. Never mind, Mike. You'll find it.
Okay. Anyway. So, Mr. Sharp, I salute you for including me in that AARP comment. Jackass.
AARP.
I catch hell for doing that stuff. From the loudmouths out there.
Hey, that was a holster. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I thought it was a holster. Piece of plastic.
Yep.
So, anyway, y'all. So, yeah, I had Dane County 4-H Fair. And then my wife's birthday last week, so I figured I should probably spend some time with her since it fell on a Tuesday. So we had fun. We went out and bummed around for a bit, went and got some dinner like adults. So it was fun.
An adult dinner? What's that?
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
They had enough staff to operate the restaurant?
Yeah. Amazingly enough, yeah. So... And then tonight I'm alone, so the dogs will probably be a little more involved in the podcast because my wife is up in Fond du Lac with her family watching a baseball game. So, and all my free time I had, I spent trying to edit podcasts. Unfortunately, because of all the background noise that we have in our podcasts, it's a nightmare. So. It takes a long time. So, but anyway, other than that, not much else new and exciting. How about everybody else?
Just getting ready to move. That's all.
Yeah, you are.
That's me.
Somebody else is too.
Yep.
Who's that? Who's the other person getting ready to move?
It is me. I'm not close. I'm not as close as Paul, but I am purchasing a house here local still, but closing date's the middle of September, so.
Nice. Like I said, the only thing I saw wrong with it is its address.
Oh, I agree. I wish I could get out, but when I got a stable job, I really can't go anywhere.
Exactly.
How far is it to the border?
But
you got no room to talk, Paul.
About two miles.
He's escaping.
Oh, that's right. You're going in. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nick, go ahead, please. Nick, please repeat yourself.
But yeah, it's closer to Dad's house, so I'll be able to see him a lot more. And even though, because right now I'm 25 minutes roughly. Mm-hmm. This house is like 5 minutes. So, and he can be on the podcast more often. He can come over every night. And I know once I get settled in, I'm gonna do a video series on making a reloading bench.
Nice.
So,
hi, Pumpkin.
What's up, sweet cheeks?
It's our favorite cupcake in his high vis shirt.
Yep. Got to be safe.
You just got off work and walked
Make
in
sure
the
nobody
house.
runs
Thank
over
you.
him with a paint roller.
Sometimes he comes home looking like that. I know that for a fact. I've
Yep.
seen it.
Uh-huh. That's just when they have the paint fight, so when the boss isn't around. Shh. Oh, sorry, Jason. I wasn't supposed to tell.
He was one of the funniest things I ever saw. Was the two in the morning, 2 different pay bills for 2 different employees, 2 different areas, and both of them were on carpet. Oh my God!
Yeah, that was a great day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no kidding. So, Jim, what you been up to?
The only thing I did was I had a face-to-face with a listener.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. You mind if I use his name?
Go ahead.
AJ Harmon, episode 360. Well, thank you. And he and I are conniving, scheming, whatever you want to call it. We're going to take and introduce him to the San Lee Gun Club next Tuesday. That's when their next meeting will be, is this coming Tuesday. Looks like Mikey's up to something good.
Well, this was sitting down by my foot, and I kicked it, and it's really heavy, so I wanted to figure out what the heck's in it. And it's a crap load of 22. Woohoo! Oh, and some 223. Yeah, put that back in there. So. I hadn't got around to labeling that one yet, so I will put it back down there out of the way.
Chris Sharp is talking to you, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jason's talking to him already.
So, Jason, other than painting, what you been up to? Getting ready to move?
I got kind of a long-winded story. Do we have time?
Yes, we do.
I follow this YouTuber, V Belton Son. The son does a lot with 5.9 Cummins trucks. He loves the truck. He loves the motor. He does stuff. Every once in a while, he'll start a project, and when he's done with it, he'll sell it. And so I was telling my youngest son, Jake, about it, and Jacob was telling me that he really wants a Gen 1 square body Dodge. And let's see, Friday night when I got home from work, I flick on the YouTube, and this guy was finishing up his Gen 1 work, and he said, I'm selling it this weekend. And so I forwarded that information to Jacob, and I'd say within an hour, he had his to-go bag packed and his dog, and he was in the truck heading to California.
Wow.
So, all right. But so Sunday morning we met with the guy, and the truck was everything he said it was, and it's I like the square body trucks also. It's a good look.
Yeah.
But everything seemed fine, so he ended up buying it, and we got home. We had already packed my utility trailer with some of my shop tools.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to take it up there with him.
Yeah.
And so about 2 hours later, he calls me and says, my truck's overheating. Come get your trailer. And so,
oh my God,
Kathy and I jumped in the truck. We actually brought the dogs with us just for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And we started heading up there, and I said, that's a darn shame. I'd really like to have that trailer up in Idaho for my garbage trailer. When I start doing work, I got a place to throw my garbage.
Yeah.
And she says, well, I happen to know the calendar's clear tomorrow for Monday. I don't have to work. And I said, well, I know I'm not working. So we made the very unwise decision of driving to Idaho at 3:30 p.m. Sunday afternoon.
Ooh.
And so Jake was driving slow because he's afraid something's wrong with his truck. He doesn't want to tax it.
Yep.
And so we're literally doing 55 miles an hour on 80 going up through the pass. And it's getting later and later. And I'm thinking, when the sun goes down, my eyes are going to close. and then that's it. Kathy won't drive this truck I drive.
Yeah.
And so when we stop in Nevada, I said, Bud, we really need to speed up if you think your truck can do it. And he goes, yeah, I think it will. I think so. And I said, good, let's get to Idaho before 1 a.m. So several stops later for energy drinks and whatnot, because my eyes just won't stay open.
Yeah.
We rolled in at 3:30 California time.
Oof.
And we took a 4.5 hour nap, unloaded the trailer, parked the trailer, and then headed back for California.
Ooh.
And yesterday afternoon, I think it was about 5:30, we rolled in, and I said, I'm sorry, I bought a house in Idaho. I really don't want to go back anytime soon. Poor decision, but we made it and dealt with it. And now next weekend, we're supposed to head back up there. I was just parking the cargo trailer so we can start loading it up now.
There you go. So was it the truck he just got that was having the problems, or his other one? Oh, okay.
So yeah, he parked his other one in my pasture. He'll come down and get it another time. It was some crustacean inside the radiator. Nobody thought to look in the radiator. The guy that did the video, he didn't think to look in it. He just checked the overflow bottle. Yep. We never looked in the radiator. It happens. It's a 93. So how old's that? Like 28 years old? Is my math right? Stuff happens, and we ain't worried about it. It's still a cool old truck.
Yep. Yeah.
Congratulations, Jacob.
Oh, he's happy as a clam.
Oh, yeah.
Have you changed the radiator yet?
No, tonight he was supposed to get some flush. I recommended just trying flush, see what happens.
Usually,
and then we'll go with the radiator if that doesn't help.
Drano
works?
Yeah.
Just unhook the radiator from the engine first.
Yeah.
No, it takes all the scale and everything out of it, Drano.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just
you don't want that scale flying through the engine.
Yeah. That's what I have had problems with excavators, mini excavators that they would sit for half a year, and then we'd use them, and then they'd sit, and then we'd use them back and forth, and they would get a lot of scale built up because of the heat that they built up, and
right.
Learn Drano.
Indeed. So, a appropriate comment or question for the evening's topic is from Jorgen, one of our favorite Canuckians.
Do we care what he wants to know?
Not really, but it's apropos for the topic, so
okay.
We're going to use it anyway. We'll just pretend he didn't actually ask it. So, does anyone have 129 grain H4350 load developed for 6.5 by 55? Curious when others started to find pressure. Usually when Freddie Mercury started to sing, but that's beside the point.
I haven't played with that one. How about our two guys that reload that Milsurp stuff?
Yeah, I'm trying to find what I use in mine. Let me see if I can pull my chart up. We're looking in the 50th edition on the Lyman, and looking at the 129 grain bullet. They don't have the H4350.
Yeah.
But they have accurate 4350, which is like 2 away on the burn rate chart. So it's basically the same burn rate almost. And their starting velocity is 2235, but they don't give us pressure. So it's hard to say where he's starting at, and then
at some point in time, eventually, I'm going to get my. When I moved in here, I stopped using the Windows PC that I had because the fan on it was junk and making noise. So at some point in time, I'm actually going to replace that fan and then get a switching unit so I can use it here So then I'll have access to quick loads. In the meantime, Jason, do you have access to quick loads?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta look into that.
Do you have? Can you check and see if they've got a load for it?
I can.
Yeah,
Jason, thank you.
we don't load the 129. We typically load what?
140 or 150 with the cast.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure difference between the cast and a.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I could give it a shot for Jorgen because I have a couple Swedish Mausers and I have H4350, so I could do it like a ladder test load. I don't know if I have any 129 grain.
I don't think you do.
I know I have a lot of 140, but I'd have to see what I have as far as for bullets. And
Which,
now, what kind of rifle is he shooting? He says modern rifle.
Yeah.
Is it a modern Remington or what are we looking at?
That's a good question.
Jason, you had a question. Would you clarify, please?
Which round is it? The 6.5 what?
6.5 by
55.
55.
By 55.
Also known as a 6.5 Swede. So in the Lee second, your starting load is 40. Your max is 45.5. And it's generating 5446 PSI. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's overpressured.
Well, it depends. I mean, if it's in a, what kind of rifle it's in.
Yeah.
I know what kind of rifle he's got. He's got M70 with Zastava.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, there you go. So that's a little heavier built.
yeah, he should be fine if he's. So is he trying to stay below? It looks like below 60,000.
Yeah, he said below 60.
Oh, you should be fine with. You should be fine with starting for sure.
Yeah.
What did you say starting was, Mike?
40.
Yeah,
And it says max is 45.5.
yeah, it's basically what Lyman's got.
That's
So,
going to be safe in most rifles.
Exactly.
Milsurp, and even in straight pulls.
I'm
Exactly.
gonna go with that's the lawyerisms underload.
Yeah.
Give me the projectile manufacturer and weight again, please.
It is 129 grain. Hang on a second, I just shut that manual. Holy crap, there's a lot of bullet options for the Swede.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, nice thing about it, you can use any 6.5 projectile.
Yeah, 129 grain jacketed bullet, Jason. So
They're not giving a manufacturer.
no.
129 would be what, Sierra?
That's what I'm thinking. Sierra, I thought had a 129.
Yeah.
Hornady has a
Sierra
129.
does not anymore.
Hornady.
Then Hornet, yeah,
Hornet.
Hornet then.
Okay, and then what was our powder?
H4350.
H43.
So Chris Sharp has a comment that somebody just put up. Paul, was that you?
Yep.
Awesome. So I don't have to. I'm not the only one that can do that anymore. Yay! Yep. So now we just need to have everybody else sign in, and everybody else can do the same thing. Now that we figured that out. Awesome. So that
And this is what you want here.
Yeah. So, Hornady. Yeah, to give you an idea, Hornady for the same load, for the same bullet, the 129 grain, says starting is 36.4, max is 42.4.
So you're looking.
geez.
You got 3 grains of difference there.
Yeah, so I would stick with the Lee. Unless Nosler's got better information. I don't
Chris
have
Sharp says the nozzle book has 39.5 to 43.5, velocity 250 to 2519, and all the way up to 22716.
Yeah. I'd stick with the Lee. If you're looking for a faster load, I'd stick with the Lee. So,
It's funny, Mike, your comment apparently seems to be driven by the age of the data we're out there using, because this other stuff seems to be quite a bit newer than that Lee book is.
lawyerisms.
You bet. We're not trying to encourage people to overload their rifles, but Jiminy Christmas, a lawyer shouldn't be writing a reloading manual either.
No. So as far as FPS, that minimum charge in the Lee book gives you 2430. The maximum is 2703. So, he said the Hodgson book must be an older manual because I've got the 9th and it doesn't show that much. Or no, that's Hodgson. Never mind. Not Hornaday. So.
Yeah, it looks like 145 or 45.5 is what is standard max charge.
Yeah.
Because that's what you had, Mike. That's what Lyman's got in their the new 50th edition.
Right.
So looks like that's the max what everybody's seeing.
What was his PSI he wanted to stay under?
Under 60.
60.
On this, of course, I don't know his bullet manufacturer. I don't know his case manufacturer. I don't know his case capacity. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Generically, this is telling me at 45.73 grains, he will be at 53,114 PSI.
Okay.
For what that helps.
No, that's actually good info. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So-
thinking he should find if he would like to get closer to that 60,000, he should find a better powder to fit that,
probably.
what he wants there.
Yeah.
Desire.
It's a little slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, so we didn't, Jorgen says we didn't touch on it, but Sammy limits 6.5 by 55 based on the 1896 Mauser, or CIP, which is the European version, loads the 6.5 to 55 by higher pressure and calls it the 6.5 by 55 SE. So.
We run into the same problem with 7mm mag.
Oh, yeah.
And just so everybody knows that the way Sammy measures and the way CIP measures their pressures are different, way different. So careful.
Yeah. Yeah, that can be a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think accuracy rules in this case.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately the biggest thing, is
Yeah.
getting to be the most accurate. So our next question from the chat. 454 bore. Working up loads for my M1 Garand. I see Hornady lists Vitivory N135 as a viable powder for 168 grain bullets. Is this one of the better or the worst powders to use for the Garand?
I've never used any Vitivory powders, so I don't know. I've never messed with them. We use
IMR 4895
Yeah.
or
H
40
4895
or
MR
or
4064.
Yep, those are the only two I mess with.
I've heard BLC2 does pretty good. We've never messed with it, but I've heard some pretty good results out of that. But yeah, I've never messed with the Vitivory powders. We've always just stayed tried and true to what we've read on the forums and what we've had passed down for us.
Well, I'm not going to push no Grand.
No, especially a Grand with the operating rod as it is. You don't want to ruin that.
Right.
N135 will work. Is it the best powder? I don't think so. I think stick in the 4895 range.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even the only Vitivori listed for.
No, you got
I know.
N150, N140.
Yeah.
So many different ones you can use.
And then 540.
Yeah, 540. Yep.
When you get to the 500s, because those are double base powders, I begin
Mhm.
to worry about you being used in the Grand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it lists it, but you're also talking. It's probably about the top of the range you're going to want to go to because it's 20. It's moving at 2640.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
According to, so we probably middle of the range. 2410 feet per second, 2166 foot-pounds. According to Sierra, their best accuracy is H4895. Their best hunting is Reloader 15. And as I change that, it doesn't really change the powders, even with the different pressures. And definitely not getting any Vitivori listings. So
As I see it, and for the Grands that I've loaded for, 48.95. That was. I worry about 4064. It's
it's
in
a
the
little hot.
range, but it gets a little hot.
Yeah.
I've seen some people load with 2520. No way. That stuff will rack up a grand in short time. You can, if you want a ball powder, 748. Okay.
Yeah, that's another good one.
That's in the range. BLC2 will work.
Yeah.
H335. But the original powder the Grand was loaded with was the IMR 4895.
Yep.
And why go with something that go back to the original?
The only reason I could see going for something different is if you can't get.
Sure.
So, Hornaday's book, which is one of the very few that actually lists specifically for M1 Garand,
Mm-hmm.
for the 168. Let's see here. What do they get? They don't have indicated best loads.
No, Hornet doesn't do that. I've noticed. Let me check Lyman real quick. Maybe they might have something.
Yeah, but you've got 135, 140, Varget, 150, BLC2, Reloader 15, 4064, 4895, H4895, Accurate 2495. So max load for most everything is 2,600 feet per second, and you're anywhere from 45 and a half to 47.8 grains, depending on the powder. So they're all pretty much right in that same ballpark.
I'll tell you another good forum to go to on that. Go to the CMP reloader forums.
Yeah,
they get into this pretty heavy.
Yep. Hornady does list a 178 grain bullet as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's down in the 2,400 feet per second range.
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
24.
Yeah.
You can push it with 2550, but still.
Yeah.
But so
you 178 is
pointless.
too much on that rod.
Right.
On that op rod.
It's pointless.
Right.
So I mean, the 168 is going to give you good enough ballistics if you want to shoot long distance. It's you're not going to gain enough going to that 178 for the abuse you're going to put the rifle through.
Right. And remember, the original bullet for an M1 Grand was a 150 grain bullet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Flat base.
Yep. So, all right. So What are some of the biggest myths, guys, when it comes to reloading Milsurp?
Oh,
If you reload military brass, you'll blow up your gun.
That's one. Yeah, that's a big one. A lot of people think of.
Yep.
A lot of another one people think of. Oh, it's super expensive to get into it. If you already reload, they think, oh wait, why getting into surplus, loading for surplus, it can get super expensive, and it can be depending on the cartridge. But if you're wanting to load like 8mm Mauser, it doesn't get that expensive. It's about like a normal reloading prices.
Which is pretty expensive nowadays.
Oh, nowadays definitely. But I'm trying to remember my prices in my head pre-COVID. I think I was paying 35 cents a piece of brass and maybe 20 cents a bullet. So I'm right in the ballpark of everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So, are there anything else?
Myths.
you have to watch your bores and when you're reloading Milsurps. Okay.
Absolutely.
There's a whole lot of 8mm out there that are not 8mm, or 8mm as 312 or 323, and that goes for a lot of the other guns that are out there as far as Milsurp.
Mhm.
Watch your bores.
1903s, 1917s,
Yeah.
Enfields. Any Enfield ever?
Well, the big myth is if you look at the 03 Springfield, the low numbers, you can't shoot them, they'll blow up.
Right.
You can shoot them. You just got to be safe on what
Don't
you
load them hot.
Yeah, what kind of load you put through it. So,
Right. And watch the modifications when you buy a Milsurp gun. The heavy-handed quote gunsmiths that are out there that have done things that aren't. I know if you're looking at a real Milsurp, you're not looking at a modified gun, but a lot of people are going to find things that are modified on the gun.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's very rare at this point in time that you find a Milsurp that's actually in the affordable price range that hasn't had something done to it to sporterize it. So, But GGW Reloading wants to know good molds for 8mm Mauser in specifically the 323 diameter.
I just sent him a link.
yeah, so you're going to the best one to start GGW, the Lee for the money. We had our first one we had an issue with. We ordered a new one and we've had great luck with it. I've been looking into maybe eventually getting like an accurate mold. I've been seeing some good results out of the 323 in those molds.
That's what Jim had just put in the chat. So
yeah, that's a good one. Trying to think. I don't think there's any specific company that does 8mm molds or is like experienced, like kind of like those guys that do like for instance my Martini Henry mold. There's specific mold that you have to go with for that. There's nothing I can think of in 8mm at the moment. NOE makes good molds. I haven't looked into their 8mm.
RCBS probably.
RCBS, yeah, that's another one.
Seiko.
Yeah, Seiko.
Seiko.
Yep. So I'm hopeful eventually gonna get me some extra molds for some of the other companies that play around some of my Milsurps. Probably here in the future, probably next 4 or 5 months. Probably gonna be picking up a NOE 6.5 Carcano mold. Kind of play with that, just to see how that works.
Here's one for you and Ray, Nick.
says some slacker says, "Hey Nick, would you recommend buying Milsurp through CMP program to eliminate the possibility of a modified firearm if they have something someone wants? That is."
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. CMP is the best organization, I think, to deal with it on Milsurp personally. One of the best. It especially depends on where you live. If you live either close to up in the near the Toledo, Ohio area, or down in Anniston, Alabama, Atlanta area, you're
And you
silly
can
not
go
to go
to
to their
them.
location. Yeah, you can go to their stores.
I think Talladega is the only store that's open right now, though. The
Yeah.
Marksman Park,
Yeah.
Talladega Marksman Park.
Yeah, the Talladega Marksmanship Park, which if you haven't seen the videos from YouTube, that park for a shooting range is phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's, you go in there, they've got racks of rifles.
And they're actually getting some good stuff right now.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
1917s, 03s, carbines.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot right now.
I mean,
from them.
they'll give you a muzzle gauge. You give them your driver's license. You can borrow a muzzle gauge. Go down the rack, check the muzzle on each one. Pick up several that you want to look at. Take them up the counter, and the gunsmith right there will go right through them with you. I mean, it's and you're buying a rifle that they've gone through. It's not.
Well, I was looking for a guy the other day when I was at Farm and Hunt, where I work. He was asking about surplus, and he was wanting to get a Garand for his son. And I was like, "Are you a military?" And I knew he was prior military, and with him being prior military, they make it a little bit easier for them. All you have to have is your DD-214, and we pull up the website, and I think right now for their middle grade is $750 for a Garand. That's about 70-80% for good quality. You can't beat that for $750. Now,
No.
mind you, you're gonna have to wait. I think it was 12-week wait time, but still, to get a nice piece of American history, you can't go wrong for that. And they haven't bubbled them. They're not junk. They're either re-blued or reparked, mainly reparked. A lot of the new ones are getting brand new Criterion barrels on them, so you're gonna have a brand new barrel right out of the box.
So can anybody just walk in there and?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You mean I think the main requirements you got to be a U.S. citizen, had to have, well, if you're military or law enforcement, that waives some requirements. Like 3 requirements you got to make, and a lot of the biggest one is you have to be in an affiliated CMP club. Well, if you're not a member of one of those clubs, you can join the Grand Collectors Association right there on site for $25, and that will fulfill all the requirements you need. You find the gun you want, they run a background check, and you walk out carrying a gun.
Nice.
If it's ready.
If it's ready.
If it's ready, yeah.
Another
Yeah.
cool feature with the CMP is a lot of people think, oh, wait, I have to get the gun shipped to my FFL. No.
Nope.
Being that they're not a government entity, they can ship the Garand somehow. I don't know how I don't know.
It's the way the law that created them
Yeah.
is written.
Right.
Yeah. They can have the gun shipped right to your front door.
Whether it's the Garands or the 1917 Enfields, if they have any, or the 1903s, or anything that the CMP sells, and that includes when they have them,
45s.
the 1911s.
No.
They literally
No.
ship them. Yeah,
11s. No.
No, ours had to go through a dealer.
That was
you
the
had
one
to go through a dealer. Then they must have changed that when they did that law.
It was right when they said that, okay, with it being a pistol, they decided, okay, since it's a smaller item, easier to get stolen, or that was what I looked at it by.
That
They
would
had
make
to get
sense.
shipped to it. They had to get shipped
And
to it.
that was one of the stipulations they did, so they could sell them.
that it
Yeah.
would have to go to a dealer.
So that would make sense then.
But even
yeah.
that, it's for
You gotta
a
remember
US
this-
property mark for 1911. It's incredible.
CMP has been around for a long time.
Absolutely.
Yes, even in California.
Yeah.
And the Civilian Marksmanship Program is an agency of the United States government. That's one of the reasons why the exception, they don't need the FFL to ship long guns.
It was one of the loopholes in the GCA of '68 that because when does CMP go back till?
Well, it used to be called the Division of Civilian Marksmanship prior to the CMP.
I want to say it was started right after World War II.
I was thinking World War One, but I could
Might
be
have been.
wrong.
I'm pulling the website back up to look.
Yeah, but if you're wanting a Garand, that'd be my very first choice to go through them.
I'm gonna see what they got right now. Think about it.
And not only that, they've had bayonets for them. They've got targets. They've got accessories, cases. They've got modern ammo for sale. They've got all kinds of stuff.
So yeah,
Parks.
currently the only store is the the Talladega Marksmanship Park.
Yeah.
Both of the other ones are closed, trying to keep up, but they've got competition setters. They've got the Camp Perry, which they used to do the national matches, trophy matches. I think they moved those to Talladega now.
No, they should still be at
They're
Camp
still
Perry.
at Camp Perry. Okay.
They just haven't had them with COVID.
Yeah. Let's see here.
So the only rifles they have in stock currently are the field grades. So you're looking like you would get either a Springfield or an H&R with original. Looks like with original barrel. Normally your rifling is going to be anywhere from about a 3 to 5 roughly. Those are running $650 plus shipping, or with free shipping and handling.
So to give you an idea, we just had 2 post-Korea Garands at Cabela's. $18.95 a piece.
Yeah.
Now were they Springfields?
They were Springfields.
Which is the most common.
So that gives you an idea of John's hand loading. We know what you mean. Just yeah, you're not having any luck there. Just give it up. The poor guy is having some autocorrect problems. I feel for him. It sucks. But so basically, I don't know how to appropriately grade rifles. On the few times that I actually step over to that side of the house and help out the gun library, like if they're busy or something and somebody calls and wants to know about a firearm, I'm brutally honest, but I couldn't tell you what grade it would be. Looking at these 2, they were December of '54 production. So from what I remember, I believe that's towards the end. They wouldn't have seen combat at all anywhere.
Oh yeah, they would have.
Oh, they did go
Vietnam.
to
Vietnam, yeah. You would have saw Vietnam, early
Okay.
Vietnam.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that they actually sent
Not U.S. troops. They were sent over to the
Arvin.
The Arvin.
Okay.
Well, a lot of Israel, trying to say the Austria,
Philippines,
Greece.
They were used all the way up to the 70s plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Into the
Well, I
80s.
was just saying U.S. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I didn't think the U.S. had used them in Nam.
Oh yeah.
But
I think mainly it was mainly used at like more just like would be bases. You would see a lot of them at.
yeah.
It'd be a good long distance round. That's all.
They have the M1D. The sniper.
Yeah,
You got
the-
Korea. I mean, even
know
after
Korea.
the war, the Koreans used the M1 Grand, there for a long time. But these were all lended to them, okay? And
lend
a
lease.
lot of these were then recalled back or given back
Right.
at some time. So,
And there's still more to come back if
Yeah.
we ever
Yeah.
get somebody if they ever plan it correctly for somebody appropriate in the Oval Office to approve it. So
I think there's a ton sitting in Philippines. There's still a ton sitting in. Ton in Korea. I'm hearing there's a small batch
Well,
in
the Philippines has turned some in.
Philippines gave us some back. Supposedly Austria has a small batch of something. We don't know exactly what. I've been reading some stuff on that. But we just pulled up. So the requirements for purchase through CMP is, of course, proof of citizenship. So basically your ID or military ID.
Yep.
Your proof of age, which is on your driver's license.
Yep.
The membership in the CMP affiliate organization, which is either your gun club or the Grand Collectors Association.
And a background check.
another
No.
one that is
Marksmanship.
another one that is approved is the head group or the overseeing group for the apple seeds.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. I forgot about Appleseed. And that's another thing. You have to shoot in a CMP affiliated match within, I think they say 6 months.
Yeah. So if you go do an apple seed, that meets that requirement.
Yeah, absolutely.
The North Carolina Rifle and Pistol Association are CMP affiliated too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most
Most of your state rifle associations are CMP affiliated.
So you guys belong to Kankakee,
No,
the Illinois State Rifle Association?
Yeah, I'm a member.
Well, yeah, state rifle. Yep,
You remember
don't
that?
shoot-
Yeah. Okay.
We don't shoot there. But
We've heard it. We want to go. I've heard it's a beautiful range up there in Kankakee. I'd love
Yeah.
to shoot at it. But
You're not too far from there.
2 hours.
About 2 hours. Yeah,
2 hours? Okay.
yeah. But our local club that we're both a member of, we have CMP matches once a month, so it's close enough. And then there's another club about half an hour away that's got carbine matches. So
Is your range limited to 100 yards, or you go out?
So
further?
no, the one that's got the high power rifle matches, it's 200. The carbine match is.
They might have 300. I don't know.
Kansas got 3.
I don't know. It's been a long time since they shot over.
I know they have a 200 for sure. Yeah, but I know mainly 200 is what we shoot at. To now, part of the CMP is a 600-yard shoot. We just use a different size target for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good job with the mouse. Chris Sharp's got a good comment up, and that is he's at Notifying Reloading podcast that they have a search engine on the CMP site that you can search to see if an organization / competition is affiliated.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep. Yeah, and Jorgen got me earlier. He said, nothing like saying something factually incorrect in front of a bunch of Milsurp fanatics. Sorry about your luck, Mike. So, kind of factually correct, kind of not. I was specifically focusing on U.S. military, not overall military, so. But I'm sure the Arvins quickly handed over their firearms to the advisors.
I'm going to slip right back to our 6.5 by 55, and from Lead Shoe Joe, he is recommending an AMAX 140 loaded with 42 grains of reloader 19. Okay.
I've never messed with that one, so I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah.
It says CCIA large rifle primer 3.006 cartridge overall length, adjust accordingly.
So I got some AMAXs sitting around. I know where some Reloader 19 is at a store, so I might have to look into that.
There you go. Get her done. Report back.
So, yep. I just want to catch that up with us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you had that up there before I cleared it out, so.
Yeah, that's okay.
Where it was. All right. So, myths. We talked about brass. Are there other brass myths? Like, say, involving surplus ammo?
Oh, lots. I mean, you got some of it, people tell you don't shoot. And there are notes that, some years and manufacturers of certain ammunition is unstable. You have Bernan prime brass, which is a whole heck of a lot of fun to remove the primer and reprime.
Yeah, but we've got a solution for that now. Remember?
I know.
That reminds me, Nick.
I know. I just
we got to meet up so we can do some swapsies.
And that's what I was gonna say is we need to have a meetup up there in Madison area some weekend.
So our good friend of the show, Brian Nixon, came up with a kit a few years ago. Basically, what it does is, I'm just gonna swing my camera over a little bit here, if I can get it to do it. Okay, so. Here's the press. So basically what it does is you take your decapping pin out of your decapping and sizing die, pull it out. It's a sleeve that goes in, and it's got a drill bit that goes in. You can adjust the depth on the drill bit, so it's got a stop on it. And essentially what you're doing is you're punching a new flash hole. Well, you're drilling a new flash hole. Then that allows you to then use your existing decapping pin to decap your Berdan prime brass instead of most of the ways that they've come up with, which usually is involving some sort of hydraulic.
Or RCBS with the little pry bar dealy, and
Yeah. And the kits are affordable, and they work. I've tried it on a couple, but what I wanted to do is get one of them in Nick's hands so that he can really put the use to it. Because I just played with a couple of 303.
And I'm already planning. When I've been at the range, I'm picking up steel cased 54R brass.
Nice.
Or even the Cupro nickel brass.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try loading. I'm gonna try to work up a accurate load in my PU sniper. And if I can get that and have it reloadable, I can reload for days almost with that stuff.
Nice.
So, isn't there a difference in size between?
Yes, there is.
Primers?
He's got a solution for that too.
Okay, are you swaging the primer pockets out? Or cutting them?
What he has is he has a aluminum insert that you press in to take up the space that you would need to. There's 3 different sizes to compensate for your different sizes of Berdan priming.
Okay.
And it actually works pretty nice. So, and they're cheap enough. They're cheap enough that it's a one and done thing.
Okay.
Because basically, when you go to punch the primer out, it comes out with it.
It was like 3,000 for like $10 or something like that.
Yeah,
it's a huge amount for cheap.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you really wanted to, you probably could put some sealer around it, seal it in, then put your primer in, and possibly punch the primer out without having the ring come out.
Yeah.
But you're also going to run into the issue of now it's a little slightly different size. Will your new primer actually fit, or is it going to be too sloppy? So, but it's actually a pretty nice solution.
Okay.
I mean, it's not something everybody's going to play with. It's not something everybody's going to do. But for Milsurp nuts, it's a great thing. For anybody who's got a crap ton of Berdan primed brass sitting around, it's a great thing. So it's a
it makes sense. Go ahead. Yeah, it makes sense for people who. It makes sense for people who can only get Berdan prime brass for a cartridge, and only need 50 or 100 pieces of brass, and can keep reloading it.
Well, the one rifle that comes to mind at the moment is the Czech, is it the VZ52?
Mm-hmm.
The VZ52, I call it the Planet of the Apes gun. It's got the side folding bayonet, kind of like an SKS style.
Yeah.
And the CZ52 is in the 7.62 by 45, and all you can find that is Berdan steel case. So that's where that would come in handy.
Right.
So.
Well, this is going to sound a little strange, but anybody that reloads 308, anybody that reloads 223, anybody that reloads 45 ACP, anybody that reloads 30-06, you're reloading a Milsurp cartridge.
You forgot one.
I know I didn't. I did. I missed it, yes, but tell me.
9mm Luger.
Oh, my God. How could I miss that
one?
Yeah, you're right. I just simply slipped my mind. But anyway, those are all Milsurp cartridges. It doesn't make you a Milsurp fanatic, but those are military surplus cartridges.
38 special.
Yes, 38 is another one. I've actually had to swage primers on 38 special cases. Way back when I first started getting into reloading, I had some GI brass come in, and lo and behold, there's a crimp in that primer pocket.
Yeah.
Still is.
On the military stuff.
Military stuff, yep. Air Force still uses a lot of 38 special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And You get the military 38 special brass in, it is crimped.
It tends to go into people and not come out and go through the sides of airplanes. So it's one of those good reasons to use it. So
Oh,
but yeah, definitely that's an option. So other brass myths.
Well, like I said, if you use military brass for your gun reloading, you'll blow up your gun because you're not. You got to watch your thicker walls. Like I said, it's repetition. But the fact of the matter is, yes, the cartridge brass is a little thicker in the wall. So you just tweak your load a little bit lighter. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Less case capacity.
How about the Milsurp brass? Even if it's been stored properly, is going to be too brittle to reload.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it all depends. I think I can't remember what episode that was. I've talked about before. I'll double check my brass if I'm pulling a cartridge, especially, or even if I'm going to shoot the surplus ammo itself. I'll look if there's any rust spots on the case. I'll shake it for sure just to make sure the powder's not. I've even
Pull it.
or even pull. That's a
Pull it.
safe way to just pull it if you don't feel comfortable with it.
Right.
But HXP, the 30-06 brass from Greece, extremely good stuff. If stored properly, extremely good brass.
Right.
Well, back to embrittlement. If you get ammo that is loaded back in 1900s, back then, early 1900s,
Yeah.
back then they were using fulminated mercury, mercuric fulminate, and that does embrittle your brass.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys may give me shit about being an old man, but even I don't date back that far. There you go, Paul.
yep. Yeah. Okay, Chris. We understand.
Well, it's like another thing, like what Jim said. For this one, my pizza 577 Martini Henry. The original case for this was a foil wrapped case. Not a lot of people
Really?
know that. Yeah, before they did the drawn brass, it was foil wrapped.
Wow.
So, I
Well,
would love to find a piece of that just to have in my collection. But
a lot of brass, old brass, was what we called folded head.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So
balloon. Another name for it's
a
balloon head.
So a lot of those old cartridges just can't be used because they can't hold the pressures that and stay together in our modern guns.
Mm-hmm.
The head of the brass is too flexible, too soft. So careful with brass prior to, I would say, 1900, because a lot of that is balloon head or folded head brass. Just think of how a 22 round was made in those days, and that's pretty much what was made with a lot of the centerfire brass prior to. So a lot of brassmith, yes.
Yep. How about bullet myths?
Dumb bullets. You cut them too deep, they'll blow up in your gun. Is that a myth or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bullet myth.
Here's a good question from Chris. So obviously somebody else is there with him. giving him questions.
It's his wife.
Oh,
Nick and Ray, if someone is looking to get into Milsurp reloading, is there a cartridge you would recommend that's easier, more forgiving than another? Also, ease of finding components and finding the firearm itself. Is there one platform you'd recommend over another? I know the hot one right now still is Moist Nuggets, as far as the rifles themselves, but there's not a lot out there for reloading 7.62x54R.
Right.
Compared to some of the other ones.
I think our first Milsurp reload was probably 30-06.
Well, yeah, if you're wanting a basic
as
Milsurps,
a start off.
A start off would be like 30-06.
But then from that,
I think 8 mil anymore. 8 millimeter.
8 millimeter.
8 millimeters coming back. I'm saying.
I would say, yeah, we're starting to see a lot more Mausers come rolling through.
Yeah,
a
lot of the Mauser. Well, another one. Actually, now that I think about this, the rifles you can find a lot all over the place, and they still produce ammo for hunting. 7mm Mauser.
Yeah,
because a lot of the South American Mausers.
Yeah, we're
are
7.
Still out there are 7mm, and I think Remington, Hornady, and another thing with anything Milsurp, you can get into it because PPU makes ammo for it,
or even brass.
Yeah. What about we've been seeing some 7.5x55 coming through.
Swiss, yeah. Swiss can get. I like my Swiss rifle, but stuff for it. If you want original military ammo, you're going to be paying over $1.25 a round. I hate to say it.
GP11 is getting into it.
Not really. I hate. It can be. I have a little bit of GP11. I don't have a lot.
I'll tell you, a good round, easy to reload for a sweet shooter. 7.7 Japanese.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Now, rifles aren't the most expensive. You can still get a good one for under $800.
You can still find some decent Arisakas.
I saw one sell at auction for $5.25 last week.
You can make your own brass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you can make that out of odd 6 brass, right?
Odd 6,
270. Yeah.
270.
Yeah.
270 is a very
that's a
forgiving cartridge, especially for conversion.
And that's a 312 diameter bullet, I believe. Don't quote me.
I believe you're right.
It'll be in here.
Two cartridges while those guys are perusing through the book that we've overlooked. They're handgun cartridges. That would be 38 special and 9mm. They're both very easy. Yeah. They're both very easy to reload for, particularly 38.
Yeah, 312 is the bullet diameter on a 7.7 Arisaka. There's another one. Even if you can find the 6.5 Jap, which is the Type 38 rifle.
Right.
That's a 6.5 diameter bullet. That's another one. Most of the 6.5 family.
Aren't Carcanos making a comeback too?
Yes. The only problem with the Carcano is it's not a 264 diameter. It's a 268.
Oh, so now you're looking.
That's why, I have to get a mold for it. I shot 264, but you're all over the paper.
And you've got to get somewhat of a custom mold too, ain't it?
I know we make some mold. I'll get ready to order.
So you could use 264s in paper patch.
You could.
And I thought about that, and that's my boss at my work was like, "Yeah, just use a 6.5 in paper patch." It's just I've never really thought about paper patching a regular cartridge like that. Now Martini Henry, some of these other cartridges, it looks normal,
right?
But if you're going to paper patch a 6.5 Jap, it doesn't look right,
right?
No. And if you're wanting to plink 264 diameter,
absolutely, 100 yards, you're no problem. You should be hit paper.
You're not going to shoot 1-inch groups or nothing, but
no. Another one, and that's still a viable one, is 303 British. It's not the cheap as it used to be to reload.
Right.
Stuff's starting to dry up for that.
Yeah, I mean it's finding the components for it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is what a bit nuts just said. The problem with Milsurp 303 is that many of the rifles, either the chambers are oversized or the bores. He says the bores tend to be poor, but the bores tend to be oddball size too.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could literally. That was the problem with the 303 in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same problem with the 7.62x54R Mosin Nagants. It is so hard to call it a Mosin Nagant and not a Moist Nugget. Dang it! But you could take if you find two receivers that are sequential serial numbers, which you're not going to, but say you
Mhm.
could, for example, you could slug the bore on both of those, and I guarantee you they will be different. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the problem with both of those cartridges, at least that I've noticed, is your bore size is a lot of difference.
Mhm.
You know, and it may be as simple as 1,000ths. I've seen it almost a tenth. Or a hundredth, I should say, not a tenth.
That would be
Huge.
10,000ths.
So,
Correct, Michael?
I don't know. I'm not the machinist. I'm just the
Yeah.
schmuck. I'm just the schmuck pushing buttons.
And as Abby Nuts just said in that last comment, most of the Type 99 Arasakas had a chrome line bore.
Yeah.
Chrome bore line bore. Wow, I can't talk today.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a good. Most of the time, your rifling is going to be in really great shape on a Type 99.
Right.
It's rare. I've only seen a couple. I've had one at an auction I've seen where I could tell it was in water somewhere because it looked like the sea had grown down the bore.
Right.
But other than that, most of the time those are going to be relatively good bores still. But yeah, the 303. Another thing you can think about is especially when I pick them up or when I try to look at them. First thing I do is I look at the bolt face.
Yeah.
What's the number on the bolt face? That's usually going to tell you how your bore is going to be roughly. So if it's got a 4 or 5 bolt face, you know your bore is pretty much shot out.
Mm-hmm.
Unless somebody changed it to kind of play games with people. But if you can find a 1 or 2, most of the time that's going to be a pretty good shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually what we'll do is like when we pick up a gun and where we go to an auction, we do the plumb test, drop a bullet down the muzzle. That gives you a good indication of how your bore is going to be.
Cheap muzzle gauge.
Yep.
Yeah, Gunbroker's got a bunch of Arasakas on right now.
And I've looked at Arasakas have come down in price a little bit for some reason. They used to be up around the $800. Now you can get them for about $550 all day long.
Yeah. Which is kind of surprising because if you think about it, there is a limited supply of those because a lot of those were destroyed after the war.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they've got old military footage of them running over piles of them with tanks and stuff. So, unlike a lot of the other Milsurps where, they've been sitting around. So,
I got a quick question for that Abby Nuts. Where is that Walther based out of?
A bit nuts.
A bit nuts. My bad. Where's that Walther based out of? Do you know? But where I couldn't find. I didn't have a chance to look anything up.
Lothar.
Is it England or where's that? Because I've never seen number 4 barrels for sale anywhere. I don't think Criterion makes them, do they? Not that I knew of. Georgia, huh? I'll have to look into them.
Are they short chambered?
We got one that might eventually get me.
Gun barrel blanks, drop-in gun barrels, custom-made rifle barrels.
Oh, looks like they might be out of Germany. Huh.
They were Chacho. Ooh, they make rimfire barrels. Let's check the bargain bin. Yeah.
Lothar Walther has been making barrels for a long time.
Oh yeah,
and they are a lot of their stuff was match grade 22 barrels.
Yeah.
How much are
they got some nice pricey stuff.
Yeah.
you
would get
Mauser 98 Sporter Heavy for
you
$577. So
they were making barrels for 22 competition rifles for the longest time.
they still do.
Yeah, and you could order them with your Anschutz or your Hammerelli or whatever rifle that you were having made. So
Right now they make them for CZ 455s, Tika T1Xs, Zermatt Arms, which is one of the newer precision things. Ruger precision rifles. So all sorts of different stuff, different twist rates, 17 HMR, H2.
Oh, Criterion does make one. Forgot about that.
So
It's
it's $369 for the Mark IV barrel right now, and that's a drop in.
well, Criterion makes them too, so that's a
Right.
and they're a little bit cheaper. They're about they're at $350 when they have them in stock.
Yeah.
So
Don't
they make,
put Lothar Walter.
oh no, I'm not absolutely putting them on a back burner.
I mean, I like Criterion barrels, but they're a button rifle barrel,
Mhm.
and I'm more of a cut rifle person, and Lothar makes both of them, but Lothar barrels are really hard as a hard barrel as they're manufactured. So, yeah,
Probably wouldn't be too hard to change a barrel on that. Thinking about how the big chamber ring there, it'd be easy to make a thing for it.
Yeah. Or again, I don't know if that, I'd have to do some research. I don't know. They an indexed barrel.
Oh, I don't know. It does have the indexing. I don't know.
there you go.
Do some research.
So Abby, a bit nuts said Criterion won't have them for a year.
No, I figured that. Criterion's they're out. Once something comes in stock, usually people have been watching for them for a year plus, and they're gone within a month.
Right.
You
So
gotta
yeah,
do-
Walther's got quite a bit of selection. They've got Garand barrels, M1A barrels.
Well, look into
They've
them.
got 98 military, 98 sport or hunting barrels, Ruger Precision, rimfire, Savage small shank, which I think is the Model 10. AR-10, AR-15s, the Enfield Mark IVs.
Wow.
So, and then that Zermatt Arms Rimex, which I've never heard of, but it looks like it's a precision 22 or rimfire. So, they will be at SHOT Show, so I will make sure I stop by. Oh, and they make 50 BMG barrels too, and they make custom made. So, but yeah, and they make blanks.
Criterion, you can order a barrel from them. You know that, right? They will make it custom for you. You don't have to wait till it comes up on their website.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
There you go, Paul.
Yeah.
They make barrels for double rifles. Build your own.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Hey, Mada! How are you? So there you go. Let's see, what do they got new for 2021 since we're here? Snap caps, muzzle thread covers, barrel blanks forged. Ooh, an airgun blank.
If you look at the target barrels that are used in the Olympics and that kind of stuff, you'll see a lot of their stuff. A lot of their stuff. You know, the only people that don't get them are the Chinese and the Russians. So
Damn commies.
Yeah. The ITAR. What can I tell you? But they're good barrels. I mean, it's you're not going to find many gunsmiths who want to play with them.
Because they're so hard.
Yeah. Face it, most people buy a stainless steel barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they're easy for the barrel maker to manufacture.
Yep.
They can stress relieve them. They can cryo freeze them, all that kind of stuff. They can run it through their stuff. But as Jim will tell you, stainless steel from a barrel is easy to turn and to thread and chamber. Now you drop up to 4140, and all of a sudden, them gunsmiths, they don't like that stuff anymore.
Mhm.
I know
You
why.
know,
I tried tapping
yeah,
a few holes in 4140.
it ain't easy. You
Nope, you
know,
have to go. You have to oversize the hole.
yeah, and
But
you
you
gotta
can't. That's a trick you can't use when you're rifling a barrel.
right.
You got to bore that barrel out at 3.300, and you got to take and button rifle it or cut rifling, whichever, broach it, and it's got to come up .308.
Yeah,
And if you make it out of 4140, you're going to accelerate the wear on your tooling.
They make drop-in AR-10 and AR-15 barrels, including 260 rem for the AR-10. So
That would all the high production like this, or high quality or high demand stuff like this, is all because of the excellent CNC manufacturing we have these days. And I dearly love it.
here you go, Paul. Shotgun blanks.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We
So you,
you know, go ahead.
I'm just going to take and throw out a little bit of sass. The unicorn lady out there working, or she listening? She said she was going to be in the audience tonight. So there you go, Paul.
Ain't seen her.
Yep. We'll get her. We'll get her worked into that parazzi yet.
Good luck with that.
So a bit nuts that I bought a 416R proprietary steel from Bartline, and it is so hard it makes carbide cry.
I don't know. I got a lot of Bartlett barrels. I like their barrels. They're not that hard. No, they're good, but they're not that hard.
Yeah.
4140, sure, that beats 416R. Yeah, you'll find that.
Yep. So, but so what about bullets? What else besides bore diameter difference are there for myths for bullets? Or problems with bullets? What problems
Well,
have you run into?
how about a myth of barrels? Burning out and wearing out because the cupro nickel jackets that they use. No, most barrels in the military get worn out because the ham-handed fists that clean them.
Yeah. Cleaning rod, metal cleaning rod.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Although they're also usually in a small fold-up kit.
Mm-hmm.
6 or 8 piece cleaning rod. Whereas, those of us that are interested in our firearms life, we try to use at least 36, 48 inch rod.
Yeah.
Yep, like Mikey's holding.
So
With the bearing in the handle end, so that it rotates with the rifling.
Yeah, it's got pieces, and they don't match up where they thread together, and all kinds of things. But that's how you wear a barrel out, is by cleaning it. And of course, every basic training has the drill sergeant making sure that their rifle is so clean you could and then they expect them to shoot.
Yep.
And some of them do and some of them don't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I mean, you got a little 6 or 8 piece, every single little connection, and let's face it, as I've explained to a couple people at the parts counter, mil spec is not a good term. We were talking about this the other night, and there's one of the kids is in currently in the guard, And I looked at him and I go, "What does mil-spec mean?" And he goes, "Oh shit." I'm like, "Exactly."
Minimum
So,
specification.
yes, as cheap as humanly possible. So
No,
most
until
of
you go
those
to buy a
cleaning
hammer.
kits-
Till you go to buy a hammer.
Or
There you go.
toilet seat or screwdriver.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those aren't Milsurp. Those are Congress level. Whole different setup.
I got another question for a bit nuts. Your M39, is it a D shank marked? M39 by chance?
Ooh. So
Because that's where I've never seen a. Huh. It makes a 307. It's weird that it's underchambered.
Well, wait a minute now. Is that lands or grooves?
Yeah, that's nothing I was saying. It's like, what's he.
I mean,
Because I've always said, my buddies, I know someone's got a M39. Now his D shank and his lands are a 309. Exactly.
okay. So 2000s on it is not
Okay, he's
out of line. Okay.
mhm.
Because I have a 308 barrel that measures 298. Okay. And then it's 307 on the outside. So don't think one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
So
He's making me jealous right now. He's got a Seiko M39.
Yeah, we've got a couple of the Seiko S20s in. Those are a nice rifle. But I had somebody come in that was looking for a rifle, and they were looking at the Brownings, and they think that Browning is still Browning, which is always entertaining. So we're sitting there, and I'm showing them a couple, and then I handed them the Seiko, and they've got a really nice. It's not a true thumbhole stock, but it's got a setup. It's got a setup more like a thumbhole style stock, and so he's looking at it, and he goes, "Well, who is this company? I've never heard of them." I said, I said, "So do you study any sort of history or anything like that?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, I studied a lot of World War II history, European theater." I said, "So do you remember the stories about the Finnish snipers?"
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
They
this
were
is the
using
company that made their guns.
Yeah. He's never heard of the name
Oh.
Socko
No.
Wow.
A lot of people haven't heard of Sacco, and they haven't heard of Tika.
or Seiko.
Yeah, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I don't know what the correct.
Well, you'd have to ask you'd have to ask the Europeans.
Yes.
But anybody's never heard of Tika or Socko or Seiko. Let's get them better educated.
Oh,
Look
I
up the
did.
man Simo Hyman, and let's talk later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Even
go
I
that
got
far.
that name.
I went Finnish snipers, and he mentioned that name. And I said, "So go do your research on what the rifle was that he used and who made it." And he goes, "Okay." He came back like 2 weeks later, and he goes, "Holy crap."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, they've been around a few days." So it's always fun when I get to learn things when I'm at the gun shop, though. We had a Walther police one come in the other days.
Yeah, that's
One of you, yes.
yeah.
So do you know why that is a bit nuts?
I do.
Because he got shot in the face.
He got shot. It wasn't a grenade. She was shot in the face. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he looks like he ate a grenade, because he literally got shot in the face.
Yeah.
After
There's a
his elbow
great
went
there's
away.
a great podcast I was listening to about Simo Hyman. It's a good 2.5 hours. Let me see if I can find the name of it.
So
Great comment, Canuckian. If you pay Socko prices, you can pronounce it any damn way you want.
valid point, sir. Valid point. So
There's a
and yes,
there's a
correct.
couple of those Seikos, Sakos. I would like to have a couple of
That
them in
is-
222 and 22250 that
Yeah.
are just beautiful little pieces of art.
I happen to know where there's a 338 Lapua Magnum Tikka that I'd love to own too.
Yep.
Good to see. Good to hear you, Sal.
A bit nuts. A face only a mother could love, or a sergeant.
So if anybody wants to listen to a podcast about Simo High-Hand, there's its a channel on Spotify or any other podcast called History Impossible.
Yes.
And the podcast is called The White Death.
Yeah, that is
Absolutely.
an amazing podcast.
I love it. It's
That's
I've listened to it like
what they
3
call
times
it.
now.
That's what
Yep.
they called him.
They called him White Death. For those of you who are spending a lot of time on Facebook or other things, and you see the meme about the snow-covered trees forest that says "Find the Finnish sniper," he's the reason for that. There's rumors of literally an entire Panzer division trying to cut down a forest with tanks that he was in, and they couldn't get him.
A lot of people think he used a scope rifle.
No, he's open irons.
Sights, all iron sights.
And he had a couple of, if I remember correctly, he had a couple of 300 plus, 400 plus yard shots.
Well, absolutely.
So, but so yeah, one of the things you definitely need to pay attention to is your bore diameter. Nick, how do you check that?
Well, a lot of times I'll especially on like 308, I'll take this gauge. It's a
That's just a muzzle. check.
muzzle gauge. That's usually what we'll do. This is just a muzzle gauge.
Okay.
A lot of times, the best way to check if it's shot out or if it's a good bore, if you know roughly what bolt diameter the chambers or the bore should be, just do a plumb test
Mm-hmm.
on the end of the bore. And if he eats it all the way down to the case mouth, you know the bore's shot out.
Okay.
Or to get a lead bullet slightly larger than what your anticipated bore is.
Yep.
And
Slug it.
lube the bore, lube the bullet, and drive it through. Then mic your slug as it comes out.
So do you mic the sticking up points, or do you mic the, or do you mic the part that's shallower?
So I mic both.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Okay.
to see where I'm at.
Because I had to put that in simpleton terms, because that's the way it usually is. It's usually put to me as, well, so I run it down there. Do I measure the sticking up parts or the other part? So
Mike the lands, not the grooves.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
like
which is
like
which,
In the
Jim?
bullet. In the bullet.
Which is which?
The high part is the lands.
correct.
Thank you.
And like we discussed, same rifle. Like you said, the Mosin had different bore diameters.
Well, there's like
Enfield-
6.
Yeah, it all depends on when the rifle is produced.
Infield's known
And
for
where?
Exactly. And where.
Yeah, Enfields,
Enfields.
your smellies. That makes a difference on where they were made.
that. I think
Yeah.
And when they were
K98. Like
K98.
K98s have been known to have a little bit different bore
Yeah.
diameters.
Yeah, 321, 323.
Yeah.
Yep. There was
Not
a
as
comment
bad
on
as-
that earlier. I don't remember who had that comment earlier.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. That's right. The Finnish fought the Russians, not the Germans.
That's like when you said Panzer, I'm like, that's.
I'm sorry.
I think another
The worst part is I'm sober.
bullet myth could be is how accurate a lead bullet can be.
Absolutely.
If you make the correct load and use a good sized lead bullet with a gas check, you can get some phenomenal accuracy.
Ray, would that be a pure lead bullet over top of a max load of H110 to get a good accurate load?
That's like that.
Pure
Depends
lead, pure leads, pure dead soft lead,
Oh,
no gas check.
No,
No, pure lead. no,
That's
not.
why lead bullets got
Absolutely
the
not.
dirty name, is because Remington and Winchester did exactly that. They
Right.
put 357 Magnum loads underneath of pure lead bullets.
Mhm.
About the only thing you're going to
Okay.
run pure pure lead in is a muzzle loader or something like a Minier type bullet. Other than that, it's going to have a higher hardness level than 7.
I don't know about that. I think there were a lot of sharps that were put out there that were running very soft bullets.
Oh, you're
And-
talking black powder days, but we're talking about modern cartridges.
Oh yeah, but still, it's still valid today.
No, we're talking about a myth. We're talking about a myth about 357 leading up a barrel.
Oh, okay.
It's not a myth; it's a fact. 357 factory ammo, lead bullets, max load is going to lead up your barrel to the point where you're going to wind up with high pressure. It's not a myth. It's a fact.
If it's a Ruger 6-inch barrel, you can stuff 19 projectiles in that before it blows up.
Yeah, there you go. That's a myth too. I wouldn't try it.
No, not a good idea.
Paul, you talking like a Civil War era sharps or more of a modern sharps?
Modern sharps.
Modern
Sharps.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take a modern sharps and do it. Loading soft cast bullets into things like machine guns. They will lead, but more from heat than they will from the barrel. From sticking to the barrel. I've shot a lot of 380 lead bullets, 9mm lead bullets, and 45 lead bullets in small submachine guns, and no, they didn't lead. And talking, 1,1300 feet per second in order to get the 9 mils to work.
Yeah.
So, 357 in a 6-inch with 1,600 feet per second, which was the load at the time. It will lead. Okay, let's face it, it will lead.
Yeah, and that's the game. That's a game you play with lead bullets is velocity. You keep your velocities down. You can run a softer lead.
Yep.
Well, not only that, but the powder you use.
Correct.
If you're flame cutting on a revolver versus in a chamber in a semi-automatic, you'll find a difference in leading.
Yeah.
If that flame gets the cut because of the exposure that it has, even if it is only 0.007 of an inch, you're going to start letting that cone up. And as soon as you start letting that cone up, you're going to start having problems.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And there's another thing that you can use to aid you with your pure lead. Travis's favorite thing.
Well, a bit nut put it out there that he's coating with high tech, which is a form of powder coat.
Right.
Yeah. So
I've had some good luck with a recent powder coated bullet. What was that? The Argentine?
Yeah.
With our Argentine 1891 rifle we got, I think we were hitting at 100 yards under inch group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, under an inch group, and my extreme spread was 30.
With a lead bullet.
With a lead bullet, cast bullet.
Powder coated lead bullet.
Gas check.
Yes, checked. It's
Hot damn, that's pretty good.
these bolts right here.
Standard deviation of 30? Yeah.
Extreme spread is 30, standard deviation of 10.
Oh, my bad.
So
nice.
yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And that was in the cold. So I'm loading up some more here next couple weeks and going to try it here in the summer, see if the exact same powder, exact same load, and see what kind of temperature, if it's temperature stable or if it's temperature sensitive, see what kind of groups, if they change.
Nice.
Like spreads. So
Good one, John's hand loading. He's out there plugging A-locks.
I'm not an ALOX user. I like my Rooster Red, and I like my synthetic coatings, but I'm not a powder coat fan either. So, it's a shaken, shake and dry. So I don't worry about it so much. But that's after loading thousands and thousands and thousands of lead bullets. ALOX was just too much of a problem.
There's a Travis fan right here. Bit nuts. I'd sooner, Paul, highlight that for me. I'd sooner sniff glue than run ALOX.
You can do
Y'all
both.
Y'all powder maniacs. I've been accused of using liquid ALOX for toothpaste. I'm going to have to take and sign in and pick that up, what you're doing, Paul.
Yep. Okay, Kate.
You guys, you gentlemen from Illinois, Brand Nick, you have any more tips and tricks for Milsurp?
On bullets? Yeah, that's
you could go for a whole episode on this bullets. Yeah.
There's make sure the dimensions. Don't worry so much about what they're made of. Even copper washed steel isn't that, as long as you're not running them, as a through a machine gun type style, they'll go through your bore without too much of a problem.
Right.
So, don't be scared of them, but make sure they're the right size. I mean,
Right.
You don't want to sit down and be 9 thousandths, too large and be running, in an 8mm bore to, correct size. And in Milsurp, don't be afraid to look at all the bullets.
Right.
So John's hand loading, and he mentioned this the other day in the Discord chat. He's got 230 grain round nose cast bullets alternating in his 45 every other round, ALOX and then powder coated, then ALOX and powder coated. He says they run great. ALOX smokes a little, smells a little. So
Yeah.
But
at 850 feet per second, 45 is a 45. Ain't a lot difference between the two of them.
Nope.
Big old fat bullet. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and it just kind of walks out there. You just,
Yeah, if you look shooting good light, you can see the bullet fly.
Right. So the standard adage to for all the fathers out there is that you ask the boyfriend when they first come how fast they can run. That way, if they can run over 850 feet per second, they're safe.
No, they're not. I'll just get the 357 Magnum out.
Well,
Cheater.
they'll be running so fast you don't have to worry about it.
They probably won't come back if the gun comes out.
No, they don't. They don't come back after that.
Although
Jim,
my son-in-law Ben, he came back and I had the gun out.
Okay. Well, that's
he
because
came back.
You didn't do the right thing. You didn't put the plaque up there with and leave the name tag off yet.
I didn't want to put Ben's name up there.
Oh, jeez.
No, the truth be told, I did pull out the 1911 and I pulled out a bottle of Jim Beam. And I said, son, now we're either going to fight or we're going to talk. And he says to me, South Carolina boy, high-pitched voice, sir, if you don't mind, I'd really like to talk. I don't think I want to fight too much. But he knew what he was looking at, that big old fat 1911 bullet coming at him.
Mm-hmm.
We wound up drinking a Jim Beam and cleaning the gun.
There you go.
That's right. Good boy.
Isn't shooting? Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Isn't shooting prospective suitors illegal? It depends
Only if
upon.
you get caught.
It depends upon what you drive.
Yep.
If you got a
Two-wheel drive Toyota.
if you got
you
an
drive
8-foot, yeah, that's right. If you got a 2-wheel drive Toyota, you ain't going back into the woods very far. You got a 4-wheel drive with an 8-foot bed and a tarp, you're going way back there.
Chris Sharp,
And
what am I talking about? What are we talking about?
So Malachi Jones wants to know, have you tried duplicating the German heavy ball ammo? I'm having trouble achieving 2440 feet per second without pressure signs.
Heavy ball. No, that's the 220 grain, isn't it? If I remember right, if I'm thinking.
I'm not sure.
That's
Yeah, it's 220 grain machine
That's
gun
right.
bullet.
That's what I thought.
And you got to remember the barrel on that was, if I remember correctly, 24 inches.
Yeah.
On the MG, let me remember what the MG 44. Yeah,
42.
MG.
There's another issue that Mr. Jones may not be aware of, and that could be the calibration of your chronograph. If you're running ammo chronograph, try 2 and see if they coincide. You know, you're
Correct.
both of them are in calibration.
Yep.
Barrel length was basically 20.9 inches.
That's 21-inch barrel. That's not bad.
Right. Okay. So, yeah.
Do I have any of that? Or does Hornady make a bullet that big by chance?
I think they do.
Do they?
Patriot 72, I have 3, and they want to go outside right now. So they're all right here. Where's the little one?
195.
There's the little one.
6.
There you go, Russ. You got to see her Gracie tonight.
Biggest they show is a 196.
I don't. You need to find pulled bullets.
Probably. Or cast.
Yeah.
So, he says he's using a 200 grain Nosler custom competition and using a Magneto Speed V3.
Sierra makes one.
So,
Yeah, I see, because Hornady's max loads are right around 2,400 feet per second for the 196 grain. So I can see where he might be having pressure signs.
Hey, Mike, you had the Sierra manual that you could play with the velocity, couldn't you?
Yep.
Says Sierra makes a 220 grain SBT. So I don't know if that's going to be overpressure. I feel like that you're going to run into pressure issues really quick.
7 millimeter, 30 on 6, 8 on 6, 8 run mag. I just want 8 millimeter.
Is it not in there?
Just a quick check. Maximum pressure CIP is 56,560. Maximum pressure SAMI is 35,000 PSI. Maximum cup is 37,000 CUP. And 196. From an RWS load, a 196 is 2,600 feet per second or 800 meters per second. And a 198 RWS is still 2,600 feet per second. And they do not go any higher. RWS runs it in a 23.5-inch barrel.
Yeah, I'm Malachi. I'm on one of my reloading data things, and I'm seeing everything top. The highest I'm seeing something for 220 grain top out at is right at 2,400, and that's using H40 895. But that's max load, so.
Okay, and he says he's already seeing
Yeah.
pressure sets.
Well, If
Yeah,
you're seeing
no,
That's at 48,800 cup. So
if you're seeing pressure signs, you got to stop. I mean, that's just
especially
yeah.
shooting out of a surplus gun. Don't ruin it. Please don't ruin it. So
Yeah. You got pressure signs. You stop. Go take it down a half a grain. You know, or a full grain.
that's why I've never messed with the heavy ball, because I haven't been able to find any realistic loads out there to duplicate.
You know, and if Germany was doing that during the war, they had their. I'm sure they had their own special powder.
Oh, you know they did.
And who's to say the original case didn't have some signs of pressure, because they knew they weren't going to reload it.
right.
Well, and mostly it was run through a machine gun.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bit difference than throwing,
Yeah, you're gonna have
a bolt action, 98. You ain't worried about a blown out primer in a machine on an open bolt machine gun.
Right.
Yeah. And and I don't know if any of you have ever seen the chamber or the chamber block that was on a G42. It's a large chunk of metal. You don't have to worry about that blowing up.
Yeah.
That probably alone weighs half a pound at least, if not more.
And the real reason they were using that heavy load, that heavy bullet, was to increase their range, the suppression range.
Absolutely.
You're not looking at that as you were looking to suppress fire with it, and that type of weapon.
To address what Paul said about once you see pressure signs, you need to stop. That's simple. It's very simple. It's because you've gone too far already. It's kind of overstating it, oversimplifying it. But you see a few pressure signs like an ejector swipe or extractor mark or anything like that, back off. Paul's exactly 100% right.
So Lee does list a 220 and a 225 grain.
Cast? Or
What's that?
is it a cast bullet or is it a
Jacketed.
jacketed? Huh. I know Sierra makes one currently.
Sierra does not list the 8 by 57 at all.
Really?
But does it specifically say on here use 323 bullets only if rifle has 323 groove diameter. So
Well, looks like I might be ordering some bullets from Sierra to test them.
there you go.
So what was the velocity on that, Mike?
Max velocity that they got with max load was H4831. It was 2346.
You're still 100 feet per second almost.
Okay. So they aren't even making it there with
Nope.
that gun.
Mm-mm.
So cut it down. You're trying too hard, sir, to get someplace where you're just not going to go safely.
The only problem with Lee is it never says what they used for test.
Is it in right here by chance?
No, they don't.
Does Lyman had it?
I mean, I'm not going to go by the book. I'm going to sit down and tell you guys that he isn't going to get what he wants out of it.
I absolutely agree. Yeah,
You know,
looking at everything, you're not going
and even the book that's listed that we have with this load, he's still 100 feet per second less than what he's looking for. And I don't know the condition of the machine guns that it was tested in to get 2440.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to see another Kentucky ballistics.
No.
Well, how reliable is that number from the 2440?
It's
machine gun.
It's pretty reliable. I've read the actual German documentation that they've received that.
So Lyman's 50th uses a 220 grain jacketed soft point boat tail. And their best is with IMR 8208, which is one of the brand new powders. And their best is 2315.
There was
50,000 PSI.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I believe you, sir, are on a wild goose chase. But
You know,
The lead bullet junkie was wanting to know what brass was sitting behind me. It's a bag of 6.5 by 50 jet brass. So
nice.
lead bullet junkie. Yes, you can load one time. You can load it to those velocities
Mm-hmm.
one
So
time.
Malachi said, "Thanks, guys. I appreciate the info. I found a load of 49.8 grains of IMR 4350 that get half in group at 100 yards at 2350. Was just curious if it was possible." So Paul Loud said you can find the XBR 8208 next to the hen's teeth at the store. Right, you are, sir. Malachi, I mean, theoretically, if you wanted to spend enough time and effort into it, I'm sure you could get it there. Depending on how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go. I mean, some of it may be case capacity. If you're not consistent with your case capacity and you've got a couple that are smaller case capacity and you're throwing that bigger load into it, it's going to generate more pressure versus if you take all of your, larger case capacity ones and load those up, you may lower the pressure but still get the results. So, but I don't know if it's worth chasing or not, unless, of course, you've got an MG42 laying around. And if that case, I want to come say hi.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
that would be a hellified fun.
That's about, if I remember correctly, they're going about for a $1.25 right now.
Yeah. Last I knew, MP40s were over 50.
Yeah, that's $1.25. Is what I think I
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw
I think
them last time.
MG42s are about
125,000.
Yes, sir.
I saw
Because
one
of
for $7,000
transferable.
last weekend.
Wow.
Because it's transferable. That's the problem. So that's one of the reasons that there's a group of people that don't want to see the Henderson Act repealed.
Yeah.
Because they owned them before the Henderson Act, and now they still own them, and now they're theoretically worth a crap ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But if that law gets repealed, the value drops right out of the bottom.
yes, it does, because now anybody can make one. Now the only value is the fact that it was an original.
Right.
So,
but the big thing is like an M16 going for $80,000 now. Okay, a transferable one.
Yeah.
Until that was what was that 92 or 86? Excuse me, 86. You could go to the local gun store and they would have them on the shelf.
You still had to do the Class 3 paperwork.
You still had to do the Class 3 paperwork, yeah. But if they were an FOT, they would have them on the shelf.
Yeah, because it was
buy
perfectly
them.
legal for the manufacturers to make them.
Right.
So
nowadays,
MG5s,
for a manufacturer to make them, they have to first have a letter from a agency or law enforcement or a DOD or somebody, then they can make one as a sample, dealer sample, and then get it and go from there.
Yeah, there's I don't know what episode it was, but if you're We Like Shooting fans, Jeremy Posderick, he now has he has all the correct stuff to be able to do that, and so he's got machine guns at his range now that he's done. So
I have to agree with I'm a bit nuts. I think machine guns are really just a little bit overrated.
Yes,
for
they are.
Target shooter, because 223, you're pushing 60, 70, 80 cents a round. and you're not going to have fun with the machine gun unless you're blasting through 500 rounds. I mean, it's just
Mhm.
who can afford it nowadays?
There you go.
That's why you go to Vegas and rent one for 30 seconds. You know.
Yep. So, but yeah, I mean that's the thing is you got all that mess in there. So, any rate, so wow, it's 9 o'clock already. Holy crap, that went quick. If you're checking out Primary Arms, make sure you check out their new sale. Like I said, they've always got a new sale going. Trigicon handgun sights are on sale. They've got a bunch of parts kits and stuff available and on sale. For those of you who want to build your own AR, all sorts of fun. They've got an FN button rifled mid-length 16-inch barrel on sale from FN. So that would be an actual military barrel. So, but I got all sorts of fun stuff. Hollow Sun on sale for $2.99. But so yeah, make sure you swing over to primaryarms.com and check out what they got going on. I mean, they carry all sorts of stuff. Over 13,000 different SKUs. So, and they continue to add more every day. So, and like I said, they've got that lovely little feature when you're looking for stuff, that in stock option. So, and they sell everything from springs to full firearms. So, including some fun Class 3 stuff. So, anyway. But, so yeah, make sure you give them a check out. So, and just remember, word from the schmuck. I mean the wise. I mean Sharp. A Gatling gun is not a machine gun, so you can make one. Just don't put a motor on it. Keep it hand cranked. Right, you are. So Paul Laud wants to know if the Reloading Podcast wants to go over the new powders from Reliant and Vitivori. So it's TSRL 15.5 and N568. I don't know anything about them, so probably not. So, but yes, in a future episode, definitely. So, but huge shout out to everybody that joins us for the live chat every week. Thanks for the likes, thumbs up that you give us when you join us. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for keeping me honest when I'm being a dumbass. The funny thing is, Gerald, when I was thinking about the Finnish sniper earlier, I was thinking that it was the Russians, and then in the back of my head said, no, it was the Nazis, you idiot. And I shouldn't have listened to that voice in the back of my head. So, because yeah, it was the Russians when the Russians invaded Finland. So that would have been a bunch of T-34s trying to clear the forest, Panzers. Anyway, the novelty in machine guns lies in those of us or those of you who have never fired one, because it is something that is not currently attainable for the general population. So the ability to fire a machine gun is one of those things that is cool. And it's one of those things that most people think it's actually neater than it is, especially if they don't have to pay for the ammo. So, but there's plenty of places around. If you're in Ohio, check out Jeremy's. For crikey. Check out Jeremy's range, and I can't remember the name of it because they always call it the wrong name on the show. So, but yeah, if you go check out Jeremy's range, he has full autos you can rent, and then you're going to find out how much it costs to feed one of them suckers, and you're going to realize it's not that cool. So a bit nut says you get it over it after the muzzle blast dies down, and then you have to clean the bitch. Yes, indeed.
I don't know. I still enjoy them. They're still, they're enjoyable. I used one, for a long time.
Yeah.
And I had a friend with BATF that I would, try out some stuff that was confiscated, that was little worked on, and but yeah, there was, some of them are useful.
Yeah.
So anyway,
an M2?
I'm gonna. Oh, an M2, M4s, Mac 11s,
not so
Mac
much.
10s.
I mean, basically, you're throwing lightweight bullets at somebody even faster.
Yeah, well, 11s, 11s and 380, 11s and 9, Uzis, 16s, M60s.
On the topic of machine guns, if anybody's in, I saw it on the Chris Sharp said, Knob Creek, if you can, look up on their website. They're having their last machine gun shoot ever.
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have to go.
Yes, they are. They are.
We gotta look into going.
They are. It's their last one. They are like Jim and me getting over the hill, and it's a lot of work to run that range.
Yeah.
And to keep it up, and to keep their licenses and everything else up that they have, and to check everybody in for these machine gun shoots, and
plus,
yeah.
After CNN used one of their videos for footage, it kind of gave them some bad publicity.
That's, what was it? Syria? They were saying it was Syria.
Yeah. No, it was in Knob Creek, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But they're good guys there. I mean, they a wealth of knowledge, but that's they're all in their 60s and 70s. So yeah, they're just looking to close it down nicely and with a bang.
Big old bang.
October 9th, 8th and 9th of this year is when the last one will be. So the date's out there for everybody.
Nice.
So they're still going to keep the range open. It's
Yeah, I believe so.
Not doing the machine gun shoots.
They're just not
Okay.
doing the machine gun shoots.
Wow. Yeah, we've been there.
It's the record keeping guys of the machine guns
Absolutely.
that come in, and
Yep.
there's a lot of work there.
It's a nightmare. So.
We don't.
And there's some other places that do machine gun shoots.
Mm-hmm.
If you look, you can find them. But yeah, that's kind of it's kind of the standard, because it's kind of one of the ones that was first.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, just if you get a chance to go, because it's I've not gone, but I've seen firsthand footage, not just YouTube stuff, and it's a time like no other else.
We were there. What was that? 3 or 4 years ago. The week after, and they still hadn't done a lot of cleanup yet. You could still smell the gunpowder in the air. It was still in that valley.
So did you get some brass?
No, we didn't go out on the range. We were on the way to a training course.
Oh, okay.
5 hours away. So we just stopped in. That was a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Went to the store, grabbed a couple T-shirts. But
Yep.
A week later, you're still smelling the gunpowder in the air. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
I love the smell of gunpowder in the morning.
Exactly.
Smells like victory. Anyway.
All right, we signing off to now.
Pretty
We
much.
we,
Gotta thank the
okay.
Patreons.
Yes, yeah, we got to thank our Patreons out there to keep us rolling, right?
Yep. So they keep us rolling. So still plugging away, trying to get a podcast edited and up and posted. But like I said, there's a lot of background noise in our podcast, so there is a lot of editing. It took me 2 hours to edit 45 minutes. So I'm working on it as I get time. So bear with us.
Yeah.
But
We will. And
on that note,
yeah, go ahead.
keep
Go
your
ahead
brass
there.
shiny.
Nick, Ray,
Go ahead.
Jump on the Milsurp short bus.
Teach them to shoot and reload when they're young.
as my grandpa told me, don't listen to your mother. Violence does solve problems.
And gun control is about control, not our guns and not about you. It's about control.
So, Chris Sharp, I will get a hold of you and we will do that next week. So, all right, gang, on that note, good night.
Good night.